begin, there was a famine in the land. What is a famine?
The
sun is too hot. The land is too dry. The water is going away. The people came out from their huts. The sun crossed across the sky. The people stood. They faced forward and they asked the sun, why? Why?
Why?
The sun answered, it's my time to shine.
It's my time to shine.
Now the rain clouds saw the people in trouble and wanted to bring relief. They came out and said, we can help you.
We can help you.
But the sun had some other ideas. It crossed over to where those clouds were. And as it got closer, it said, get back. And the clouds started to cry out. It was so hot, and they know that clouds dissolve in the sun, so they ran away, having to leave the people by themselves. The people knew now that they were in trouble. They looked as the water in their wells began to dry. The plants began to die, and the people despaired. The people said, what will we do?
What will we do?
No sooner did they ask than animals began to arrive. First were the rabbits.
The bouncy rabbits.
They bounced down the trail to the village. They came close to the people, and the rabbits asked, where is all the grass?
Where is all the grass? There is no more grass.
The rabbit said, what?
What?
Next came the giraffes.
The tall giraffes.
They asked the people about the leaves.
Where are all the leaves? There is no more leaves. Highly irregular.
That's right, highly irregular, said the giraffes. And then came the elephants. The mighty
elephants.
They turned and they asked about the bark of the trees, for they loved to pull it and eat it. They said, where is the bark of the trees?
There is the bark of the trees. There is no more bark of the trees. Unacceptable.
Yes, the elephants are completely unacceptable. The rabbits looked around and said, we cannot stay.
We cannot stay. We must move on.
The elephant said, follow us, and led the other animals away. And all the plant-eating animals left the village. So now that those animals had left, who had nothing to eat? The lions. And they came patrolling closer and closer to the village, making the people scared, and they hid inside their huts. The lions listened to their own bellies rumbling and said, we're so hungry.
We're so hungry.
Well, it was at that moment that Anansi the spider and some friends came walking along. They were not starving. There was no shortage of flies and bugs. Now, normally lions would never think of eating something as small as spiders, but they were so hungry. They said, so hungry. And the spiders looked so plump. They decided to gobble them up. Anansi and friends, not realizing they were in danger, said, hello, lions.
Hello, lions.
The lion said, hello, Anansi. There was something in their friendly tone that worried the spiders. They asked the lions if they were very hungry.
Are you very hungry?
The lions licked their lips and said, not for long. And those lions chased the spiders all around. Now, since the lions had grown weak and the spiders were still strong, Anansi and the friends escaped the lions, who grew angry. They stopped in front of Anansi's house and shouted, drat! The lions realized they would have to use their brains, not their brawn, and they had very little practice in this. Still, they came up with a clever plan. They walked to Anansi's house and said, we'll wait inside. They hid inside the house, waiting to gobble up Anansi and the friends. Now the lions may have been clever, but the spiders were more clever than they. After the lions gave up chasing them, the spiders had a pretty good idea where they went. Some of the spiders asked,
should we run away?
The others replied, no, we shall go home. but they did not go in. Instead, they stopped near the door and said, "Hello, house!"
Hello, house.
Of course, the house did not answer, but the spiders pretended this was strange. They said, strange. They announced that their house always answered when they called to it. They scratched their heads and said, "What could be wrong?"
What could be wrong?
Now, hearing that the house always answered when called, the lions spoke in high voices, pretending to be the house. And they said, "Nothing's wrong. Oh, yeah." Now the spiders laughed out loud. They cried, "You silly lions!" And Anansi and the friends hurried up to the roof. And once they were up near the ceiling, the lions could do nothing but jump up and try to get them. But they were too high. Seeing the lions' awkward jumps, the sun came out and began to laugh. It said to the clouds, "Come and see the lions." The clouds came out to the open sky, and they saw the lions jumping, and they started to laugh. They laughed so hard that they began to cry. The lions were embarrassed and ran away with everyone laughing. But the crying clouds made rain, and the rain poured down, and the villagers ran out and danced in the rain their very best dances. Here in the celebration, the giraffes, the rabbits, and the elephants all came back and joined in the celebration. And it was not long before the plants grew healthy and everything went back to normal. But those lions were still angry. And to this day, Anansi and her family are usually found up on ceilings just in case. The end.